Check.
I mean, we did all that before. You didn't have to do that now.
I was doing a bit. You are no. You're a
No,
comedy
no, no.
poison.
You're trying to make it like we don't do things before the show. I mean, checking the microphone once we started the show. That was like last
Somebody
year,
said.
man. We've gotten better.
He says as we only got the stuff working a little while ago. I'll call it out. I'll be like, yeah, we do. Like, like 20 minutes ago. How do we get this camera working?
It's because you do something to your computer that I just don't get. Like,
I have a cop out for my lack of being technically sound right now. I am still
But
in
you're never
recovery
making
medicine
sound.
phase.
all right, quit playing Borderlands. We got a show to do, man. You're not even looking at
You
the
ain't even
camera.
done an intro. You didn't do an intro yet.
Welcome to Dice Junkies. I'm Xenodamus. On Skype, we have
Q.
and
Bloodaxe wondering if he's actually going to stop playing Borderlands.
You don't see the screen moving. What? Your eyes bad?
oh, see, this is the problem with having him work from home.
I wanted to see if he caught that. I unpaused and repaused it.
Yeah.
I want to jump in just so you die.
I got the pet bill, baby. It could keep both of us alive.
Oh man.
You can't pick me up.
Warloader. No, it won't pick you up, but I'll be fine.
But
Now, if you had your Spore Warden, my idea for Borderlands 3 update, port the Tiny Tendency to Wonderland characters over to that game. Let me play my character on Borderlands 3. And man, I'd pay for that. That could be a paid update, and I'd be willing to drop. I'd drop $20-$30. That's how much I want to play my character from Wonderlands in a game that doesn't suck.
I'd probably still play Moe's.
No, man. You might find a build that works. You also didn't try that hard. Like I think you can find something that works for you.
Because every time I finally got to where I was getting my build together, they would nerf it. And they would
Yeah, but they're not doing that anymore because they're not doing crap to these games anymore, but weird little updates. They ain't balancing anything. They gave up on that crap. They threw their hands up and said, Lordy, we're done. We ain't got nothing.
Yeah, the replayability of Wonderlands is just so meh.
It's really, but it's the Chaos Chambers and the game's main story being so dull, it makes it like that. If you gave it a new game plus mode, I would probably not play through the game again. Well, I would do it once because I'd never got to play through with build I like, and I like my current one. I would do one playthrough just to really have fun with my spell shooter or slinger build or my ice spells, and then but I would need you there because, geez, remember what I told you about elemental immunities? My ice spells would get shut down so quick. I would need you there with a different element. But it would be fun, I think, to do a run through maybe once, but with a full character. I would do one. Yeah, I could do one. I would re-download Wonderlands with a new game plus option where I could play through the whole game from the beginning with my fully leveled and equipped character. I'd do that.
And
the
that's
Chaos room sucks.
Build still works because the way they've made changes and we quit playing such a long time ago, we probably have to find new builds again.
Don't say that because if I lost my build, then I don't even want to do it. I'd be done. But dude, I'd play through even Borderlands 3's main story, let alone the DLC. By the way, I actually hadn't completed Love, Guns, and Tentacles apparently on this flat. So I went and did it again, and I liked that story, dude. I even liked the ending. It was actually funny. When you marry Wainwright and Hammerlock. I thought Wainwright. Yes, Wainwright Jacobs and something Hammerlock. Or Wayne, I don't know. It's one of those. It is. Jacobs and Hammerlock. But when Flat goes, by the powers that vested me as the personal emissary of death on this world, you may now rub your faces against each other. I love it because he's a robot. He literally doesn't care. And then when I was doing the after quest, he goes, "This is another one of those human mating rituals." I love Flack's neutrality on the topic. He's actually really fun, and it's quite. His dialogue is just the best, and he's an amazing character. So, but other than that, like the DLC is just incredible. But I would love to play my spell build through a game that was worth my time. And honestly, the games are just practically copies of each other. I mean, they play so much alike. I don't think they really built a new engine for friggin' Wonderlands. I think they just took the Borderlands 3 engine.
But I wouldn't mind doing it through the DLCs, but the core story of Borderlands 3 was just meh.
Yeah, but with my build, you know how I could clear a room? We'd be able to power through it fast. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
If my build still worked, even Moe's couldn't compete with my spell slinger's room clearing. You got to give me that. I'd shoot those icicles and they'd bounce around and kill everything on the screen.
Yeah, I think the most interesting part of the story was the whole Typhon stuff. That was really cool. But
I like Typhon, but then I also like Mel Brooks, so I like that style of humor and character. Because they were doing a bit, I don't even know if I'm allowed to say the bit they're doing these days, but they were doing a bit. But I like that bit because I love Mel Brooks's movies when I was a kid. So the over the top, I could say it, Jewish humor is, because that's all I'm saying. It was real. I love it. I'm a huge Mel Brooks fan. I'll watch all this stuff. Everybody knows the main ones like Blazing Saddles and Life of Brian. Was Life of Brian Monty Python or is that Mel Brooks?
No, that's Monty Python. You're talking about
head getting a little but Blazing Saddles, and there's another one from obviously Spaceballs, but there's another one. But I've watched like even the lesser known. Oh God, Young Frankenstein was so good.
Young Frankenstein. Oh, what was the one with the 15 Commandments? Oh gosh,
that's the one. Yeah, that I was trying to say when I said Life of Brian.
The History of the World. Yeah, the
History of the World is really good. But yeah, so I liked it. But then I like it because I grew up with it. It wasn't odd to me, I know the bit.
All right. Well, speaking of Borderlands, guys.
Oh, hey, you're here. I forgot about you.
Yeah. We got this show we do. But have you seen? Apparently, Gearbox is teasing Borderlands 4 again.
I saw that on Twitter. Yeah,
they posted. So what you're saying? What you're saying is you like what my friends and I do with our Borderlands video games, even more than you like some of the biggest and best cast and crew of filmmakers on the planet have done. Super flattered. We're working extra hard for you on what's next. Now, I mean, the biggest and best cast and crew in film is not really a good comparison because, oh my God, they broke another record this weekend for the biggest, like one of the biggest drop-offs in film history from weekend.
How did they do that? It was doing so bad already. How did they manage that? Usually you see that when a movie had a lot of hype and then it fell off. But there was no hype for Borderlands movie. There wasn't hype. And I know everybody goes on and on about, what is it, Kate Blanchett or whatever. Yeah. But I don't even know what she's done. Like, I'm going like, I don't know. I mean, I know of her, but I couldn't name a movie. And I'm just like, but it's Kate Blanchett. And I'm like, playing a very tired and doesn't want to be their woman in a really bad wig. And if you don't believe me, look at her face here. Me and Xena went through the trailers again after somebody said you can tell how much she doesn't want to be there. And yeah, you can, it's not just us. You can see it. Every scene, she looks like she's thinking, why the heck am I doing it? Even her action scene when she's rolling over the barrier and shooting the Infinity, there's kind of just a whatever, like at every moment. And I'm like, you could be an amazing actor. So but if you get M. Night Shyamalan,
estimated to earn $2.35 million in its second weekend, which is a 72% drop from its first weekend, which was only $16 million.
That's bad.
I don't think. What do you guys think? I don't think it's going to break $1 billion. What do y'all think?
No, I don't think it's going to break 50 million.
I don't know.
50. I was going to. Oh, go ahead, brother.
I don't think it'll break 30 million. To be honest with you,
dude, I was going to say 10, but y'all right. It'll probably get 10.
It's already at 18, bro.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Now yeah, you said 16 the first weekend. I heard 6.
Well,
my bad.
All right. Now, the 16 is being generous because most people we talk about domestic. 16 is its international.
Oh, wow.
So yeah.
16 is the
drop off.
number.
It did 8.6 domestic over last weekend. So it didn't even break 10 million for its opening weekend domestically.
So this thing, and it cost 120 million. There's no way they're gonna get close to that.
That's the published number. I'm pretty sure it costs more than 120. And then with
Dude,
the,
they've been working on it for a
advertising
long
crap out of
time.
it.
And they
So-
worked. They well, I don't know about that, but they've been working on it for a long time.
Well, yeah, they had to have all those reshoots and stuff. You know, I mean, yeah, it was a rough progression.
You know what's bad is they're talking about how much we enjoy their games. Well, the people that did the games respected and understood what the lore was and the style, but these actors, I have a pretty sneaky suspicion none of them ever played a Borderlands game.
I don't know. I
will
think 3
say
was a
that.
little loose with the lore.
Yeah, but it didn't go sideways. Like, there were some points in there that are a bit odd to me, but they were questions that were never answered really in the first place. The answers were just kind of meh.
Yeah,
But did it shatter the lore of the Iridians? No, actually, everybody said the best part was actually the part almost no one did. Bloodaxe, do you know that they actually said most people never went and listened to all the Iridian siren things because you had to do it after you beat the game? Because you remember, you couldn't do it when you first beat the game. You had to come back to all those locations and hit the little symbols to hear the log from the first siren. And like a lot of people, after beating, after they got through the game, they went on to do the end game stuff. But I thought all those logs were good. Go ahead,
There
man.
were supposed to be just 4 sirens, and they ended up like almost doubling the sirens in just one game between Tannis and the twins and all. So that's kind of what threw me off was, these super rare people all of a sudden doubled one game, and that threw me off for a loop.
Well, yeah. I don't think the twins were supposed to be sirens. If you take the twins out, then you stayed it around an even 4. Because they kept switching out when someone died. Now, I don't think it was supposed to be that fast, or somebody would have probably picked up on it a long time ago. But now wait a minute, you may be right, because we don't know the powers of the original siren that died in Borderlands 1 at the ending. But I'm assuming that her powers went to some, Amara. They had to, because Angel had already been born, and by Angel's age, I don't think it's been that long since Borderlands 1 and Borderlands 2. So it would have to be the siren on Borderlands 1's powers went to Amara. Lilith, Mai, and Angel already existed. When Angel died, her powers went to Tannis. When Maya died, her powers went to Ava. Lilith is still alive, so technically they can't even put a siren in the new game because Lilith is not supposed to be dead unless they kill off Lilith. And if they do, they have to give Lilith's powers to it, which means you have a repeat siren who's not Lilith with Lilith's powers, which is just the Ava conundrum all over again. Because, my God, if they make Ava playable in Borderlands 4, I might not buy it. I mean, that is how much I dislike that character. I would be very tempted to not play it because I don't want to even see her in my party. So I would be like, if somebody joined it was an Ava, I'd boot them. So like that's just, I'm like, I hope they don't want her to be playable in the next game. But honestly, they don't have a siren to give you. You feel me? Like they don't really have another siren because they burnt up so many of them in 3 that they don't have the slot free in 4 because they're stupid. Because honestly, I would have liked to have played a tech-based siren who could use turrets, which maybe they'd make Tannis. If they did Tannis and you could summon turrets and hack robots, that might be interesting. But her powers are really specific. You know what I mean? Not very combat-focused, technically, kind of. So I don't know. But that would be amusing if it wasn't the soldier. It was a siren summoning controlled turrets. You know what I mean? That would actually be quite interesting. A hacker siren would be something else because it reminds me of Mass Effect, and all 3 of us have played Mass Effect. We know that you could be a combat hacker. It's doable. Or they could even just decide to do like Cyberpunk and just make hacking magic and she just basically cast spells at people.
I wonder if this will be one of these movies that like gets a cult following later in life, but most people aren't even going to watch it because of the bad pub that's coming out right now. But once it comes on streaming, I'll probably will check it out, but I'm not spending cash to go watch it, especially with the family. But I am kind of curious if this develops some kind of cult following.
I mean, it could. I mean,
Cult of the Vault.
I mean, worst movies have garnered cult followings. So.
Well, I mean, bad movies have their place, and I would go watch it as a bad movie, no problem. I mean, once I still got a week of recovery, but who knows? Maybe by then it'll be dirt cheap or already on a streaming service where you can pick it up somewhere. But
I do think bad movies are most enjoyable inside the home with a bottle of liquor, you know,
and a pizza, yeah,
yeah. Or Asian food, you know, we'll do sushi or dumplings, you know. But yeah, a good snack, some alcohol, friends to laugh, you know, and then try to take this seriously and not take it. Wow, that is not the business. Okay, I just looked at that picture. That is a very unflattering shot they took of her. I did not realize how thick her makeup was on that screenshot. Jeez. When you look at her neck versus her face,
don't look at her neck, man. Don't look at her neck.
I'm not trying to shame, by the way. A makeup artist could have fixed that or airbrushed that. I am not knocking Kurt Blanket. She looks wonderful for her age. I've seen normal pictures of her. She's a lovely looking lady. This was a very bad shot. That is actually a bad. I'm hoping that they didn't really zoom in that close during the movie and leave the frowny face like shot like that, but that's how you could tell
it was bad casting to begin with, and that was the thing, man. I mean, this movie, bad casting, bad writing, didn't stick with the game. I don't know how anybody expected this movie to do good.
Yeah, especially when you pervert the whole story behind Tiny Tina and just throw everything out of whack. That just doesn't make any sense, especially when people from Gearbox are so heavily involved in the movie itself.
And without doing spoilers, the fact that they did all that with a certain character's backstory, and then it turns out it literally wasn't even necessary because they opened the vault the way you think they'd open the vault, and everybody knew they would. It made that even more ridiculous. Because who actually opened a vault is who you think would open a vault. It's the highest billed actor in the movie. So pretending that the important person was some rando, I shouldn't say that, some person that we're not as familiar with they hired instead of Kate Blanchett was stupid. No one fell for it. And it made all the drama around that, the whole build up around Tiny Tina, and then it turns out literally not important at all. Everything they did involving that character was completely unnecessary. That's odd, because that means you wasted ours and your in-movie character's time for no reason.
Well,
and that's why I said M. Night Shyamalan twist.
Yeah. On the other side of the coin, Deadpool and Wolverine still going strong, man.
How strong? The top pick.
It crossed the 1 billion. It has surpassed the most top grossing R-rated movie, and we know it still has at least 2 more weekends in theaters, you know. And so with it still pulling strong on the this is the 3rd weekend. It could definitely make it into some of the top 10s if done right now. I mean, right now it is, as far as domestic box office goes, it's currently at the, let's see, where was it? 17th domestically, at 1.142. It would probably, let's see, domestic though is 545. Yeah, I mean, all it has to do is pull another 100 million over these next couple of weekends domestically, and it'll make it into the top 10.
It's interesting. Well, it's not far off.
A little more to get into the top 10.
Yeah, a little more.
It needs to get 6. Yeah, a little, because it needs to beat. Doesn't need to beat Inside Out. It needs to beat Jurassic World.
Yeah.
But yeah. But that's possible. 110 million, man, it can pull it off.
What were you saying, Blood?
I'm just looking at the list, and it's impressive how close it is to the Avengers.
Yeah,
which was which was huge at the time. But
yeah, I mean, the Avengers is only about 80 mil away. I mean, if we look,
that is shocking.
It pulled in. What did it pull in this weekend? I mean, I think it pulled in like almost 100 just this weekend. So, yeah, I mean, it has very serious. And
there's a factor you need to really emphasize here. It is a R-rated movie.
Yeah,
it's an R-rated movie that may threaten the top 10s. It'll be potentially the first R-rated movie in the top 10.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's ever been one, but it may be the first, which will be an incredible record if it becomes the first R-rated movie to make the jump into the top 10, proving that R-rated movies can be the most successful movies in the world.
Also, I mean,
so I would like to see it.
Yeah, internationally, it's in the 31st place. And, I mean, it definitely has a chance of being in the top 20 internationally. So.
Oh, no, it's in 31st. It'll probably hit that.
Yeah.
It'll probably hit that pretty soon. Dude, it's not even 100 million off. It's only like 10.
To be in the top 20, it needs another 200.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm looking down there.
Almost 200 million.
Oh, I'm sorry. I was looking at the 29th place, man. I told you. If y'all can't tell, I'm still not quite crisp yet.
But, I mean, still, dude, for a rated R movie and 2024, damn good. So, other than that, we had Alien Romulus in the theater this weekend. I haven't gone and seen it yet. Was sort of hoping to hear some reviews on this first before I went and spent the money. From what I've seen, a lot of positive reviews on this. Like it has me tempted to go to the theater and catch it. What about you guys?
I was going to let Bloodaxe start. He is the massive Xenomorph fan. We know what I've been doing this week, and that is convalescing. So
yeah. You can't leave the house on your own right now.
A buddy of mine went to go see it Friday night, and from the things that I've found and heard, I mean, it's probably the fourth or fifth best film in the franchise. The consensus I've heard is it's probably number 4. But then again, the bar set by Alien 3 and Resurrection wasn't very high. But the common consensus that I've heard is, visually stunning. It's a beautiful film. And the first several acts were fantastic, but the last one, it kind of goes off the rails. And like certain films, the things that people choose to do make you want to slap your head later on in the movie. They'll play like a horror film to where it's like, instead of getting in the car and going, let's go get our friends. I'm like, screw you guys. I'm going to be in the car before the toilet seat lands, man. I'm just, but some of the decisions they made just really make you want to scratch your head. Like, why would you do something stupid like that? And they telegraph some of their stuff, kind of like the gun over the mantle throughout the movie. So there's not a whole lot of surprise when certain things go off the rails. But I really liked the concept of, these young kids raiding an outpost, looking for technology, trying to, get salvage, which is, in the vein of the whole Alien realm, that, people are struggling and they're trying to find ways to cash out and make some money. And, and that's what these kids are doing. And just like with everything else, it just kind of goes sideways. But not to get into spoiler territory, although I know some spoilers about the movie, but some of the stuff at the end just makes me go why? Why would you choose that? But it can't be as bad as Covenant, especially with the fact that they're trying to separate themselves from the whole David storyline, but with the way that things go down in the film, it's definitely a Ridley Scott produced film, and some of the concepts and things that I just don't care about, including his obsession with AI and the androids and stuff. Just let me have a good horror flick. You know, having a bunch of monsters chasing people and, you know, trying to figure out which one or two people survive at the end. Let's go that way with it. But no, involved AI. But there's some good Easter eggs in the film. But you know, the people that I've trusted, I've talked to, said it's worth a watch. But it does kind of get sideways there at the end.
Well, I had a big opening weekend with so far it's estimated 108.2 global opening.
What's the budget?
Oh, I don't know.
I'm looking it up now. The budget was 80 million. So if they've done 108, you know, so they're about halfway to their to making their money back, not including advertising. So, you know, that's still a strong opening weekend, especially for a rated R film, for a franchise that has anything good come out in about a decade. So props to them.
Yeah, no, I will say I was actually looking up recently on how box office is calculated. Now, they don't actually calculate that with how much. So the 108.2 million, you know, same thing when we're talking Wolverine, stuff like that. That is the amount spent to go watch the movie.
Yep.
So it does not include, it includes also the theater's cut. So,
right. So
the theaters make between 20 to 50% of ticket sales, depending on the deal that the is made beforehand. So,
right, and with this being a Disney product, they normally weasel their way into about 55-60% of the gross.
Yeah.
And so, you know, they're probably sitting on about 45 million out of that, or maybe a little bit more. So
probably more. Like I said, 50. They say 50% is the high take from theaters, and then the theaters. Usually, if you get a good deal, which most likely Disney does, is probably got 30%. So they're probably making 70% of the of that number. It's Disney.
Probably domestically, but worldwide, I'm pretty sure they don't have such sweet of a deal.
That's
over
possible, yeah.
So, but yeah, I mean, and this should make back its money. I am hoping that it is successful enough, but critical enough to where they continue to make good films in the Alien universe, but get away from some of these tropes. I mean, every single Alien film has an android that just goes sideways, except for the second one. So getting away from the AI stuff and just give us suspense and horror in space is what I would love to have.
AI is the thing now, though, man.
Yeah, but it's not interesting.
No.
At least not to me, it's not. I don't know about you guys, but I'd be more interested in the engineers and how they, you know, worked on different projects and how they seeded these planets and their different experiments and stuff. I mean, that would be more interesting.
Let's go Red Dwarf with it and have the janitor.
The only input I can put in is that I've heard from more of the people I talked to that it's probably the third best movie. So I was really curious what was your top three, because Alien and Aliens were obviously put above it. But I was wondering, you have another movie you put above it. What movie is that?
Prometheus. Actually, I liked Prometheus.
You liked Prometheus?
I liked Prometheus.
Okay.
I thought that was a really well done film. I liked what they did with Naomi Rapace's character, and the fact that, you know, it was in a similar vein as Ripley, to where she's a strong female presence, and, you know, she went balls to the wall. The fact that they completely just hosed her off screen between that and Covenant really just kind of soured Covenant for me. Although I liked the character Daniels in Covenant, I didn't like the film Covenant. But Alien Resurrection is just again, from a scientific perspective, that doesn't make any sense. And the third movie was just bad. The fact that they had all this charisma built up between Hicks and Ripley, and then they just said, you know what, we're going a different direction. We're going to kill everybody off and drop on a prison planet. I'm like, what? This doesn't make any sense. So, but no, I like Prometheus, and the cast, but with Idris Elba and my wife's girlfriend, what's her name? Charlize Theron. You know, that whole cast and crew I thought was fantastic.
I will say, as I was
I
going
don't
through,
like the AI stuff in it, so that's the only reason it took away from me. Is I'm kind of tired of the, like you said, every freaking droid is stupid or evil or both, and I'm just kind of like, when I saw him, I was like, oh yeah, it's gonna probably end up, can't trust that android, and then and I'm just like, that's becoming a trope that's becoming tired, I think, for this movie series.
I will say on going through the written reviews and comments on the movie, most of the negative reviews that I saw are stuff like can't even come close to the previous Alien flicks, or it's not the original, and that's to me that's it's not a good review, like
no movie is going to be another movie. I mean. Yeah, like it's not Alien. Like, yeah, Alien had the advantage of being the first. I think I was telling y'all earlier, no other alien monster in a movie looked like the Xenomorph. And they presented it in a unique way. And there was a world building that people don't always pick up on, which has been absent. One of y'all said it earlier. I don't know if you caught it, but it is, I think it was Bloodaxe, that it was a very blue collar space movie. Like, the cast was like Ripley and her crew. They gave off a very blue collar vibe, except for the one corpo. It gave off a blue collar vibe, which introduced this interesting concept of here's a spacefaring society, still got stuck up white collar corpos, and just trying to make the next paycheck and make ends meet, blue collar. And I think it's why we see the space trucker trope being so popular. I think that kind of also kicked it in. Then they introduced horror into this very down-to-earth, because of its blue-collar elements, very down-to-earth space movie. It wasn't like you're expecting, like, oh, just whip out your laser swords or your blasters. No, it had a very gritty feel while also being in space. I think it played the concept of the horror. I mean, it also had a very good environment. You're stuck on a ship. There's nowhere to go. You're stuck on a ship. The horror of being stuck on a small space, it originated a lot of that being done well. It really did. It did everything right. You're never going to capture that again because we've seen it already. You feel me? We've already seen it. Like, it was done. So yeah, the new movie's not going to be the old movie because you can't do that again. It's already been done. Once something's been done the first time, you can only try to improve upon it, but you're never going to replicate it.
Yeah. Right. And going back to a smaller scale to where it's a bunch of people that are completely ignorant to what's going on, as opposed to the scientific expedition in Prometheus, or the colonists in Covenant. These are a bunch of kids, so it's almost kind of going back to the old slasher flicks from the 80s, where a bunch of young, early 20s, late teens kids are going out and they're trying to do something, and everything gets sideways, and that could explain some of the decision making is because of their immaturity. But those are the kind of films that I really enjoyed in the 80s, just because it was cheap thrills and fun. And this kind of gets back to that, but at the end, the big reveal just, again, makes me want to scratch my head. And if it wasn't for that, I probably would have, I already have tickets to go see it probably tomorrow or Tuesday.
All right. Well, hey, if anybody is watching this, that has seen it, has any thoughts, let us know in the comments. Let's move on to, I missed this one back when we were talking about Borderlands. Just a side note back on that topic. It is interesting to see Borderlands 3 rockets up Steam's bestseller charts to the highest concurrent player counts all year. It's funny that the movie was so bad, people wanted to go play the video game to
and yet Randy
cleanse
keeps
their
maybe that's why
palate,
Randy keeps defending it so hard, Mr. Pittsford. I have seen his message board of him talking to people, and you'd think this sucker was 10 years old. He is the most childish adult I've ever seen. And it's funny that he acts like that when some of us remember all the things he did. And he's got a bad history. I don't know how he dodged getting swept up when they were knocking guys like this out of these jobs. Because, I mean, he dropped that weird flash drive with the questionable material on it, remember, at the medieval times.
But he likes magic tricks.
And the age of the individuals on it was a bit close to the line or maybe not above the line. Then the parties he was throwing that came up later that also had a lot of appropriate behavior toward appropriately aged people. And then you're up here clowning, and I'm just like, yo, man, to me, you're still that weird creep who kind of maybe should have been investigated. You know what I'm saying? Might should be in there with Jared, but you're up here talking and acting a fool.
I feel like I remember this now, but I had blocked it out of my memory.
Yeah, that's the same guy who's throwing a fit, and I'm like, you need to shut up. You know, you probably just need to shut up and try to lie low. Because some of us are parents and adults who remember that stuff, because I tend to not forget somebody who I'd never want to be around my kids. So, not a fan of the guy.
Speaking of people throwing fits, Black Myth Wukong comes out here in just a couple of days.
And Screen Rant apparently has a problem with that.
Not only Screen Rant, I mean, we saw IGN, right, as well, before.
Well, we know IGN, dude. They directly work with Sweet Baby Inc., so that's not even a question. Like, they're buddy. The person that wrote the article is like friends.
I mean, the person here who wrote the article just put by the Screen Rant team instead of actually...
Oh, no, they hid her name because they thought we wouldn't find out that she is... well, you can reveal it, but you know why she hid her name, because when people found out who it was, they also found out what she does.
Well, yeah, and I mean, she's a consultant from what other people have dug up. I don't have all the...
She has two jobs.
Yeah.
She's a Screen Rant review writer, but she also happens to work for consultant agencies, and you know what kind of consultant agency.
So the whole... And the reason people looked into this was because the review, it was given a 3.0. It's like, combat is fluid and fun. Cinematography can be breathtaking at times. Great diversity in items and mechanics, but then lacking inclusivity and diversity. For one, how many humans are in this game?
Very few, because it's a story about animal demons. And you want to know what? Here's what I find hilarious. I'm not going to dodge this. It's weird that we sit up here and we say, don't assume. You know what I mean? You're not supposed to assume. Yet she clearly did that. And yes, it is a female writer. Like I said, they looked her up. They found out who it was. But you really want to be on camera, don't you? I keep telling her the camera's pointed at the door. But like, yet on the flip side, you don't know what many. I mean, you see a 9-foot tall bipedal tiger. You really have no idea. You know what I mean? Really. And since we can't say what is or isn't, and you know what I'm talking about there too, there's a lot of assumptions being made there. And you can't expect racial diversity when you don't have human characters.
Yeah.
I mean, you've got a bunch of animals and stuff, so race can't be assumed because it's a freaking dog. You know what I mean? Now you got to start making a lot of really weird assumptions and ideas to do that. And that would lead to potentially offending people again, because like, oh, okay, well, which dog is a black dog? Which dog is a Chinese dog? Like, how do you even start assigning racial identities to animals? Plus, it was set in medieval China. We all know that medieval China specifically was very cut off. That's the history of China. Like Great Wall, man, it was really cut off. You're not going to see non-Asian characters in medieval, like ancient China.
Yeah.
So it goes back to stupidity. And also the fact that you can't even make these assertions because, hey, man, how do you know what that big old boar is? They didn't throw genitalia on anything, so it's like you can't really say what's female or male when you're fighting a 50-foot long dragon.
Oh no, that I
You
mean,
know
like
what
I
I mean?
said, that was the thing that amused me the most out of the lack of diversity. Is it was just like, actually, I saw a lot of diversity. There was a lot of animal types in the game. Yeah.
Oh yeah, man. And then, like, I saw a monk. I saw a handful of female characters. I mean, human characters. Weirdly enough, when I saw human characters, several of them were female. So she's literally lying and clearly did not complete the game. Because I've seen at least 3 different female characters. Out of like 5 humans I saw, 3 of them were women. So boom, you know. So like I'm like, yeah, no. And I mean, is she meaning as enemies? So she's mad she didn't get to beat the crap out of female enemies. Because guess what? You fight nearly everything you meet in this game because it's a Souls-like. And we know in Souls-like, nobody ever doesn't catch them hands. You know what I'm saying? That's how Souls-like work. You meet an NPC, you're probably going to beat the crap out of them. You know that. You played Souls-like. You're familiar with it. So I'm like, what? You want me to beat up more female monsters? I don't get what you're looking for in a game that has been described as almost a boss rush. So I'll stop. But like I said, it's just I literally tried to fathom how you could do this, where it wouldn't just be Assassin's Creed Shadows, where everybody's no wait. At least Yasuke existed, so it'd be even weirder. You would just have to throw in random stupid crap that would make no sense. Why would you do that when it's based on a well-known story? Yeah. Oh wait, they never make sense.
The next article is also mostly just clickbaitish. Like it's one of those things that just annoys me because it tells you part of the story. This article from Video Games says Black Myth Wukong streamers asked not to mention feminist propaganda and COVID. Of course, you know, COVID is
wait till he tells you the whole thing.
Not anymore.
Huh?
No, wait till he tells you the whole thing, because it's another case of that certain groups like to do, where they go, let's cut out this one sentence and leave out a whole lot of other sentences before and after that, because they like to lie.
So if you read further and you find out what actually was posted, they posted a do's and don'ts. They only have one do in this, and that's to enjoy the game. The don'ts is don't insult influencers or other players, okay? Don't use offensive language or humor. They prefer you don't use offensive language and humor while doing, streaming their game. Do not include politics, violence, nudity, feminist propaganda, fetishism.
And they said don't instigate interviewer. So notice that they picked 2 things, but yet they did not say don't mention COVID-19. They said do not use trigger words such as words that make people upset. So what they actually said is, hey, and then they said don't discuss content related to China's industries, policies, opinion, and news. So what they really were saying is don't
focus on the
anybody.
Game.
Yeah, and don't offend anybody. So this should be a plus. But Video Games is literally, at least they did show the whole list.
Yeah.
But they titled their article clickbait. That's why we're calling it clickbait and not just an outright BS, because they do tell you the whole story, but they clickbaited you.
Well, the problem is
they picked 2 words out of 10?
Yeah. I mean, the problem is people don't read whole articles. You know, that's my biggest problem with clickbaity articles and stuff like that. Is it's intended for somebody to go back and repeat to their friends, I saw that Black Myth Wukong was was talking about feminist propaganda and COVID and instead of actually going, and reading the article. The number of times I've caught people telling me about something and find out that they only read the title. And that's why misleading titles, it's something I've refused to do on this channel when naming our stuff. I refuse to use clickbaity titles or misguiding titles to get clicks, because that's how you spread misinformation.
Yeah, I mean, well said. I mean, basically, but at least it's clickbait. I would have been way more upset if they didn't actually list the real story there. So I'll give them props for that. But the clickbaity title, some people will read that and literally run and go tell their friends and not even read the article. Plus they're still teaching you to only take those 2 words from it. You know what I mean? They're conditioning you to only see that when you read the whole thing, you go, oh, they're really just saying don't make the review about this game political. And that's really what they said. That's all. They mention examples. Those examples included don't be offensive with your language, which is a good thing. Don't sit up there and insult other people who are reviewing this game. That's a good thing. You know, they said don't get in a debate about China. That's normal. You don't want to do that either. So it's really straightforward. It's probably one of the most reasonable one of those I've seen, because a lot of them don't want you to be negative about the game. They didn't say that. They didn't say you cannot critique the game. So it's very clean cut, but again, there are hidden agents. You notice we didn't name drop. We don't do that, but there are hidden agents. I theorize that a lot of these consultancy agencies have weaved their people into these places or seduced them away. I don't think you should be allowed to be on a review site for games at all. I think she should be terminated from that job, because I know she has another. I don't like people not having a job, but she has another job. She's a consultant. But you should not be allowed to have the conflict of interest that you work for consultant agencies, which means you have a bias toward any company that works with your consultancy agencies, and is going to be a bias. If you consulted on a game, you're not going to turn around and give it a 2. You know what I mean? So it's a conflict of interest and a conflict of business ethics. It should not be the case ever. So she does not need to be, they should not let her write game reviews. And they're idiots to do it. They shouldn't, because here's what me and Zeno said, and I think me and Blast, we talked about it, but I know me and Zeno reached the time, but we said, if you came into my office that I've reviewed this game, great. I want you to take my name off it so they don't know I did it. I would go, okay, then, well, then we're not publishing it. I'm not putting out anything that you are literally already, because I know something's wrong, right? That know something's wrong. I'm like, oh, something's wrong with your review then, because you don't want people to know you wrote it. And I thought, me and Zeno at first thought it was because, but I theorized that maybe she worked for Code AG, but we originally did think that it's like, oh, she doesn't want to get harassed. No, she didn't want people to look her up and go, this person works for this consultancy agency. If you want to know where, you can look it up on your own. You know where to go. We popped up stuff on it, but it's just ridiculous. There's a YouTube video on it as well that goes into quite a bit of detail. It literally names, shows pictures and everything of who's involved. They went full on, a little doxy, but at the same time, there is a conflict of interest. And when you work for a company that has a vested interest in companies taking on consulting agencies, I'm almost done. And this company specifically took an anti-consulting agency stance. Black Man Wukong took an anti-consultancy agency stance, and then they allowed a person who has a second job as a consultant to review the game. I love Screen Rants. I watch a lot of their videos, but this is the dumbest thing they've ever done that I've become aware of. Because I'm like, you know what? Maybe we shouldn't let the person we know isn't going to do this fairly do it. Or if you tell me I don't want my name on this, you immediately go, we're not publishing it.
Yeah.
Anything you can't put your name on probably doesn't need to be put out to represent the company's official stance on a game. That's just dumb. Very, very dumb.
You got anything on this, Blood, before we move on to the last topic?
No, because things I say are normally political anyway. So.
All right.
No. I mean, I agree with Q. I mean, if you don't want to put your name next to something, then don't publish it.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, take ownership for your work. And if you don't want to take ownership for your work, then don't put it out there for the rest of us to speculate on or who did it or whatever, because in order for us to find out if something is truly objective or not, we do look up the sources sometimes. And if you can't be objective, then don't do it.
No, well said, dude. That's a wonderful finish to put on it. You said it much faster and smoother than me. You're right. We can't fact check it if we don't have any facts. You conceal who you are. We can't verify if you even played the game. We can't verify if you, I don't know, work for the consultant agency. So that makes you invalid by default, because you can't debate or even verify anything when it's anonymous. But we've seen that trend of wanting to be anonymous, so you can't fact check. Well, I saw this. Oh, who are you? Oh, yeah, we just checked and you were never even there. We saw that in a certain person situation back. We covered a video. Zeno knows what I'm talking about as Bloodaxe, where a lot of people that are running their mouth weren't at the cons they said they were at when they claimed they saw stuff. You remember that, Zeno?
Oh, yeah.
Found out. So then they stopped saying who they were, so you couldn't go, you were never there.
Well, speaking of never being there, I'm never went back to Diablo 4. And
Nice.
Q actually called me a couple weeks ago, and he's like, "Hey, man, I hear the new season of Diablo 4, Season 5 is supposed to be really good." And I was just like, and what did I tell you, Q? I was like, let's wait and see. I don't know, man. They'll probably screw it up somehow, you know. So
Yeah, you did say that.
Anyway, here's this article. It says, I thought Diablo 4 had already evolved into a great action RPG, but its latest season just made it even better. In which he starts going, my sorceress, which, you know, the sorcerer is my class. It's the class I've been wanting to see get some love. And he's like, my sorcerer isn't even halfway to Diablo 4's max level, and she's frying rooms full of monsters with lightning, like I was playing an in-game build. After a hugely successful Season 4, Blizzard didn't need to reinvent the mucus slick wheel, but Diablo 4 Season 5 front loads the fun. And I was like, well, damn, maybe I should check out Season 5. But I was like, I just had a feeling. And I was like, no, I'm holding off. I'm going to hold off a little bit. Well, guess what? Sorcerers were doing too much magic for Diablo 4 servers to handle, so Blizzard nerfed their most popular build by cutting their damage in half.
Ooh, that's that number I always get nerfed by in every game. 50% or more. I've had a 70% on one Remnant 2 patch. Oh God, that one hurt. They went back and knocked it back to like 30 or 40.
Look, it was a Frozen Orb build. The Frozen Orb build that I've been
Oh
wanting.
no, they had your Frozen Orb build. You've been waiting for that for 5 seasons. Even Bloodaxe knows that you've been wanting that Frozen Orb build, man. He's been wanting that for a while. Well,
you know how pissed I would have been if I got in Season 5, got my Frozen Orb going, and they fucking cut the damage in half, not even 3 weeks into the damn season.
Bloodaxe knows because they did it to his ice pistol. They literally did. That's why he quit playing Wonderlands.
Yeah.
Liquid cooling. They literally took his liquid cooling and knocked it by about 60%, and I had heck getting him to play that game again. But wow, dude. Well, I bet it's worse for you because at least I had my builds in Remnant 2 for a while. But you literally just were looking at it to go back, and they already said, you know what you won't be doing when you come back? That thing you wanted to be doing.
It sounds like it was a lot more involved than just the Frost Orb. Like it was a combination of a lot of things. But, you know, that's what I was looking for. I was trying to find combinations to go with my Frost Orb because I really wanted a Frost Orb mage. And
oh, wow, you summoned a conjuration with the amulet that also cast its own frozen orbs.
yes.
Oh, wow, you'd have had a frozen orb apocalypse going on. That sounds like it would have been really, really fun when it worked.
Doesn't it? It was so fun.
I really doubt a 50% knockdown makes it still viable.
So fun, Blizzard had to put a stop to it because they can't let people have fun.
No, and their servers suck because it couldn't handle it. And I'm like, it's Diablo. How can your game not handle you slaughtering your enemies at a high speed? It's what you do in Diablo.
That's the point of Diablo, yes.
You don't play it because of the really razor-tight mechanics and thrilling gameplay. You play it because you can become a frigging psycho whirlwind of destruction. That's been Diablo, the goal since Diablo 3, at least I know.
But yeah. So I had to throw that in there to wrap up just a wonderful fucking week, you know.
But does it still work? Maybe it really was doing so much damage that 50% is still functional. That's the question. But I'm reading it. I'm not quite seeing anybody say.
Let's see, I lost 50% of my damage. LOL. I used to clear the trash enemies in 2 or 3 minutes. Now it takes me 7 minutes. But the nerf shouldn't be noticeable if you aren't pushing the pit.
Yeah, the really super hard dungeon. So it basically mainly apparently hits you the hardest if you want to do the game's end game. Well, wait a minute. That's not good. That's the game's main end game content, isn't it?
Yeah.
Only if you're doing the thing that you should be doing because you've done everything else will you notice this nerf. It's only the end game, the finale end game. There is lots of end game. There's stuff to do on your way up to it. I mean, here's my reason. I'll make it short. I just said I played my Necro, and they haven't made a change that changes the way it actually plays. Modding damage numbers up and down works if the game is fun to begin with, like Remnant 2. They put something broken in Remnant 2, we'd go run around and clown a bit in it. In Borderlands 3, you run around and enjoy being OP.
This is also the thing. This is also coming in right after Blizzard pledged to not nerf overperforming builds in the middle of a season, unless they're causing technical issues. So I guess because it was causing technical issues.
But was it? But was it really? Do we know that it was? Did anybody see a server crash or anything? Or are they just saying that? Because, I mean, that's the problem with that statement.
Yeah.
They can say that it's causing technical issues and no one can verify it. So it's an empty statement. Well, we'll only nerf it in mid-season if it's causing technical issues. What kind of technical issues? Shut up. You're banned. Pull a Randy Pitchford, you're blocked. You're blocked because you asked a rational question. Where's my thumb drive?
Where's my thumb drive?
Oh crap! I got to run back to the playground, the playpen at McDonald's to make sure I didn't drop it there.
Oh. Anyways.
Oh wow, they're already laying people off because of those bad games they're making. Isn't that wonderful?
Yeah. I thought we already talked about that though. Are they laying more people off? No, we talked about their profit, their stocks dropping.
Yeah, no. This is another 45. That's a different number.
Yeah.
So yeah. So they knocked They knocked 45 out. I mean, yeah, but, I find it funny. They could try fixing the game and changing the things they did, or they could just keep firing people until it'll still make a profit because, you've eliminated that many employees. Because you fire enough people, it'll be profitable no matter how many it sells, right?
Got to make that company profitable, right? Yeah.
And we could stop doing weird stuff to our games, or you could, just fire people until it wins.
What's that?
Yeah, these are very contested titles. I don't think we want to have anymore.
I know. I'm not sharing it. You're seeing it because of.
I thought people can see what we were looking at. Okay, yeah. I'm up here going. We were looking at some stuff that claims Ubisoft fired some more people. Let y'all know, fired 45 employees, but that is an unverified full story, so we're not going to cover it till we find out what happened. But all right, I mean, it's 4:30. We can call it here. I think wasn't the worst week. I mean, Deadpool was good news.
Like I said, I mean, there were a lot of leaks that I avoided because it's mostly this trailer is going to be here. This trailer they're talking because we got Gamescom next weekend, so a lot of the pre Gamescom. People trying to leak what's supposed to come to the event next weekend was a lot of the activity this week. So, I mean, we'll see that stuff. Next weekend will be a games heavy week a show because we will be going over Gamescom. And hopefully we see some stuff there. Sadly, I think Where the Winds Meet already said they were not going to Gamescom this year, so we're not going to get an update there. But we should get a Path of Exile 2 update, which I know we've been waiting on. They did say they would be at Gamescom this week, so looking forward to seeing what all gets pushed. Maybe we'll have some good news in the game industry. We need it.
I mean, yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing. That's the big reason there's not a lot about games coming out is because there's like 2 different shows, I think you said, coming.
Yeah, there's one this week, this next weekend, and then there's one the following weekend. So,
yeah. All right. Bring us on out, man.
All right, well, that's going to wrap us up for today. Be sure to go to Dicejunkies.com where you find links everywhere we are online, Twitter, Twitch, Instagram, Facebook, all that good stuff. Be sure to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell on our YouTube channel. And as every week,
we hope you enjoy.